Hey y'all, I'm Lynnie with Sunflower Spirit Tarot, and I'm here with a love reading for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and any other significant placements. If you haven't already, I would like to encourage you to go ahead and join this community, subscribe, and become an official Sunflower. To all of my returning Sunflowers, welcome back. I'm so happy to have you, and I'm so happy to have this opportunity to read for you. This is a general love message, so whatever I see is what I'm going to read. And I hope that this resonates with you, and I hope it gives you the comfort, confirmation, or clarity, whatever it is that you're seeking at this time. Okay, we start today's reading with the Queen of Cups. This is mature water sign energy, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, of course, right? But the thing that I found interesting is that we also have the King of Cups. So we have the Queen and the King of Cups, but how they came out on the spread would suggest they're not necessarily seeing eye to eye right now. I don't think that this is somebody that you are separated from. I don't think that this is somebody that you've even been in a relationship with necessarily, or at least not to the point where it got really serious. But I do see this as somebody who might be on your mind quite a lot or quite often, because there's something that makes one or both of you feel like you missed an opportunity with the other. Okay. Now, the reason why I say that there might have been a missed opportunity is because we have the Four of Cups here. And this energy is like an energy of kind of being apathetic to what's being offered to you. It's like wanting to get the cups that you already have under control and on the same page before you accept anything new. So maybe when this person originally entered into your life, and you could be in the masculine, the feminine, it doesn't matter. It's the same reading either way. So just, assign the energies how they fit. But somebody in the situation was trying to focus themselves on some other aspect of their lives before they were like very open to accepting another romantic offer. Okay. They might have already been dealing with somebody else, potentially even an earth sign, Queen of Pentacles, mature Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn energy. But it doesn't have to be that. Okay. And I'm gonna tell you why it doesn't have to be that, because I don't necessarily feel like this was a third party situation. What I feel like, this is a situation where somebody was being offered something that they weren't ready to accept at the time. Okay. Them saying no has put them in this energy of the Nine of Swords. This is like a mental prison. This is like obsessing about something, regretting, remorse, playing back like the worst memories or the worst interactions, the most embarrassing things over and over and over in your head. And typically when it's in this context, it just means that there's some sort of guilt or some sort of regret that somebody feels about maybe not accepting an offer when it was given to them, right? So that's why I say that this may not be the kind of person that you've already been in relationship with, because I do feel like there's still some kind of like, even though you guys are both emotionally mature, I still feel like this connection is very emotionally shallow. Not shallow in nature, and not just because of the people involved. It's because I don't think you guys have really given each other enough time to get to know each other, to understand each other, and to connect on an emotional level. I think both of you spend a lot of time really developing your own inner world, okay? And I feel like both of you spend a lot of time trying to, I wouldn't say develop relationships, but entertaining relationships with people who don't really meet you there. Okay. So sometimes when two givers link up, it's the best thing ever. But how often does that happen? It rarely happens, because most givers are attracted to takers, right? It's kind of like the magnetic thing. One side is positive, one side is negative. They come together. You know what I mean? And I don't want to explain it like that, because I don't want all the givers in the world to feel like they can't ever recalibrate themselves to being with another giver, but it's just unlikely. This is what I mean. It's kind of that same thing about emotionality. I think one or both of you might feel like the other is a little bit too emotional for them. And I think what you're doing is projecting onto that other person. I think that maybe there's a similarity that you feel when you see this person, or that when you interact with this person. I don't even know if you guys have actually met in person yet. I just feel like there's something about your connection where one or both of you sees themselves in the other. So much so that they think, oh, this will never work. We're too similar. We're too alike. But I'll tell you something right now. Being equally yoked and being compatible, being on the same page and sharing the same vision for your life often comes with being roughly the same kind of person, or being quite similar. Okay. They say opposites attract. That goes back to my kind of magnet theory. I get that. I understand that. But opposites rarely work out. And I think that's honestly why the divorce rate is so high, is because everybody thinks that their desire is to cling on to something that isn't like them or is so different from them, or, can show them a whole new world or new opportunities. And while those relationships are fantastic for broadening your horizons or enhancing your perspective, oftentimes in the long run, they don't work out because inherently you guys are two different people and you want two different things. And that's why I say that I think sometimes both of you or one of you tends to entertain relationships where you guys aren't that similar. Okay. And then you're wondering why this person doesn't communicate this way, or why they don't show their emotions the way that you do, or why they're not as comfortable expressing themselves as you are, because they're not like you. Okay. And do we need to be dating carbon copies of ourselves? I don't know. I don't think so. But being similar really, really does help in the grand scheme of things. Okay. Being similar helps when it comes to how are we going to raise our kids, and where are we going to live, and what's the long-term goals for this relationship. That's when being similar really, really, really comes into play. So this is not an opposites attract type of thing. This is a thing where you guys are literally each other's mirrors, just so similar that it turns you off in a way. And I think it's just because of the emotional aspect of you guys' personalities. Even if you don't know each other that well, that's the thing that's really bugging me out. It's like, I cannot sense how well you guys know each other. There's also something I think, I kicked my camera. There's also something I think that is occurring in the sense of like, somebody may not feel as if they are domesticated enough, or as if the person that they're coming into relationship with is domesticated enough. Okay, I don't even really like that word when it comes to describing human beings. But what I mean by that is like somebody who's a homemaker, somebody who takes care of the home, somebody who's comfortable with cooking and cleaning and child rearing and all that kind of stuff. Like somebody who understands the value of being a stay-at-home partner, okay, and how much work that actually is, and how much care and attention and intention goes into fulfilling that role in an exceptional way, or even in an adequate way. You know what I'm saying? How much work that takes. There's somebody here who doesn't feel like either they are that kind of person or that the other person is that kind of person. And what I would recommend is maybe talk to the person, maybe have some conversations before you decide what they are or what they aren't. And maybe ask yourself, what is it that you really want? Have you been clinging on, this idea of being rebellious so hard that you don't even think that you would enjoy being a homemaker? I'm somebody, I really enjoy my independence, and I only share personal details when I'm guided to do so. And I feel like I should do so right now. So I'm the kind of person, I'm incredibly independent. I love doing my own thing. I love my autonomy. I love solitude, but I have a child and I love waking up and making her breakfast. And I love doing little things for her. And I love making sure when she comes over or comes home, because I co-parent, she splits her time. When she comes home, that the bathroom is nice and clean and fresh, and that her sheets or her blankets are nice and they smell good. And all of these other little things, all of these little details that a lot of people don't even think about. I love it so much because I'm caring for somebody who I care for so deeply. So maybe those things haven't really been a part of your life because you haven't really met anybody or been in a relationship with someone that you care enough about to really just be like, I want to take care of every aspect of your life. I love doing things around the house. I love cooking. I love cleaning. Now I have to be in the mood to do those things, but that's also what enhances my joy for those things, is that I don't always make myself do it when I'm not in the mood to do it, right? So maybe that would help you understand, like, it's not about being somebody's slave. It's not about being somebody's cook or somebody's maid in the sense of those things. If you're the one who's worried about not being domestic enough, it's more so about understanding like just the little comforts of life, the comfort of home, and wanting to enhance that, and really wanting the other person that you're with to benefit from that. So if being domesticated and home, home economics, and being like a person who really values that kind of stuff is scary to you, or makes you feel like an old person, or makes you feel like you're your parents or something, it's not even about that. It's just about knowing that you're making somebody's life more comfortable and easier. That brings me a lot of joy. And I think that might be the aspect of it that you're not necessarily thinking about, because maybe you're looking at it as from like a dry labor perspective. But anyway, let's move on, because that's what I was guided to share. So I shared it. Anyway, let's move to the 9 of Swords for Scorpio. That came out immediately. Okay. That came out immediately. Scorpio. Ace of Wands, 8 of Swords. You know you want it. You know you want this. You know you want this person. You know you want this opportunity. You know that you want this path to open up for you again. And that's really what you're thinking about. Okay. I really feel like you're thinking about the time where it was offered to you, when they popped up in your DM, or when you saw each other in passing, or when they made a move on you at the party and you weren't responsive, you weren't receptive. Don't feel bad about that. Don't feel guilty about that. Okay. And here's the reason why. It's because you were elsewhere. You weren't you didn't have the emotional capacity to deal with whatever this was. And now I feel like that replays over and over, like you didn't notice, or somehow you were oblivious to what it was that they were trying to offer you. And maybe, just maybe, that you thought that this person was only trying to offer you sex, and that's why you shut it down, because you thought that this person, maybe it's in the way that they present themselves, maybe it's because you find them really, really attractive. I'm not sure, but there's something about the way that they approached you that maybe felt a little bit too sexual, or maybe felt as if that's all they wanted from this connection, or what they wanted from you, and you shut it down, right? Without even really giving it a chance. Maybe you had so many experiences with other people that kind of like confirm that in your own mind, that all this person wanted was sex, or maybe you convinced yourself of that as a way to stay emotionally distant from this person. And I do feel like you regret that a lot. Okay, I really do feel like you regret that a lot. You could be doing that now. You could be telling yourself that this person who you are really attracted to, who you think maybe you could have a little something with, is only wanting you for sex. And this is especially for those of you who haven't slept with this person yet. This is especially for those of you who have not had any sexual contact with this person. You might have it in your brain that the only reason they want you is for sex. I don't think that's the case. I would say that's not the case. And then it's almost like you're disqualifying yourself before you even actually have an opportunity to allow this to unfold. This person is already triggering you, and you guys aren't even in it that deep. What that suggests to me, once again, is that this person is like your mirror. What you want right now is something that feels safe and solid and secure. And I think when you look at this person, you see more of yourself than you would like to see in your partner. But maybe that's what you're missing. Maybe that's what's been the missing piece, is somebody who could meet you on that level. Okay. I want to talk about this Ace of Pentacles here for Scorpio. Ace of Pentacles. We have the Five of Pentacles, the Page of Swords, and the Queen of Swords, with the Emperor at the bottom of the deck. You don't like to be controlled. You don't like people telling you what to do. You don't like being accountable or being held accountable. You don't like people trying to tell you who you are and all of this kind of stuff. So I think to be with somebody who is more similar to you than they are different to you would be too much like the brutal truth. It would feel too honest. It would feel too real. It would feel too raw for you at times. I think that's what you tell yourself. And I think that's why you're attempting to disqualify this person or disqualify this connection, is because maybe it's just too much for you. You're so skeptical. You're so skeptical of this person. And I'm going to say something that I don't necessarily say very often, is maybe you're not ready. Maybe you're not ready. If this person is triggering you so bad that you're trying to find every excuse in the book not to be with them, what is it? Like, I don't even get it. Is it because they're too similar? Is it because they're attractive? Is it because they seem emotionally available and ready to love somebody? Is that what's freaking you out? Because honestly, that could be it. I don't want to sit here and tease you or make you feel bad because you don't have the emotional capacity right now for this. But what I want you to understand is that if you never give it a chance, if you never try, then you'll never know for sure. This could go just how every other relationship has gone, or you can choose to be and to do and to move differently, right? Shutting down is not moving differently for you. Okay. Being closed off to people who can actually offer you what you desire is not different for you. I think, like I said, you might have a tendency, as well as this other person, to pursue people who are not necessarily compatible with you in ways that really matter. Do you have to be exactly like? No. But that similarity could be what creates a really divine connection. I think intuitively, I think spiritually, that this person is somebody that you could create this lover's dynamic with, Gemini energy. I also feel like there's just a lot of fear that's holding you back. So maybe instead of pushing forward with this, maybe instead of like trying to make this work or trying to make this happen, and maybe instead of me encouraging you to do that, maybe what needs to happen now is that you need to like really understand why you might feel unworthy for this. And I'm not even speaking to this person necessarily. I'm just saying to being offered love, to being given this attention. Like, why are you automatically disqualifying it? Why are you automatically saying that this isn't for you, this isn't what you want, and then regretting not taking the opportunity when it was in front of you? What is it about this person, or what about this connection, that represents something that makes you feel fearful or insecure? Now, like I said, it could be this person's appearance. It could be the way they carry themselves. You might think that they have a reputation with a lot of people under their belt and all that sort of stuff. all that sort of stuff, but you don't know that, right? And you won't know this person until you give yourself an opportunity to learn this person. But I wouldn't recommend going and playing in this person's face if you know in your heart that you're not ready. Okay, if you know in your heart that you're not ready for the kind of connection that you seek, then you need to take some more time for you to prepare yourself, both mentally and emotionally. How do you do that? You continue going out, you continue meeting people, you continue dating and getting to know people. But if you feel like this person might be really special for you and you don't want to ruin it and you don't feel ready, give it some time, give it some space. I'm not going to sit here and say that this person is going to wait for you or they're going to be available to you when you're ready for them. But what I will say is that if you don't feel ready now, if you feel too insecure, too triggered, too fearful now, that's only going to create problems later in your relationship with this person. And you might scare them off for good. And I know you don't want that, Scorpio. So really just continue pouring love back into yourself and acknowledging that you do deserve healthy love. You deserve love that feels solid, stable, secure, but also love where you can feel seen and heard and appreciated. Love where you can communicate your emotions and the other person understands, or the other person at least tries to. Love where you are given that kind of reciprocity that you desire, even though you've been kind of avoiding it a little bit, maybe even this person a little bit too. So just be patient with yourself, be patient with others, and continue just giving yourself the love that you know you deserve, because you do deserve love. This is what I have for you, Scorpio. I hope that this was helpful or enlightening in some way. Comment below if this resonated with you and like the video so I can continue to connect with your energy. I'll see you next time.